Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back here with Wittman Technology. Yes, Don Wittman joining us here again live on the podcast and Zoomcast. And we're talking today, well, he'll tell us what we're talking about, but there's a lot to him and his company. It's WittmanTechnology.com. Let's start with Donald by saying hello and introducing himself to our listeners.
Hi, good morning. I'm Don Wittman. I'm the head of WittmanTechnology.com. And basically, I spend most of my time helping people and companies with LinkedIn and helping companies find very hard to get employees. So, and I'm also the author of 4 books. The one I spend the most time in is Ignite Your LinkedIn Profile. Also have Writer Success Secrets, Game On, Leaders Who Last, and Better Business Book 3. So I spent quite a bit of my time doing books and using those books to help other people.
Wonderful. And we talked a lot about your books, about your experience with LinkedIn. We've had some great conversations today in the past. And today we have something new. We're talking about this, not the great, what is it? The Great Resignation, did you say? Or no, it's the
most people call it the Great Resignation. I call it the Great Reengagement. What's happened through the, COVID and some of the previous recessions that we've had recently and things like that is people have been forced to work harder, work longer hours. And with COVID, basically daycare is starting to dry up and become very expensive. So the workforce has changed and people are looking to reshape their work-life balance. And part of that is re-engaging with the companies and say, hey, I'm a performer, I do well. There's got to be a better way to do it. I know, like, if we just had stats come out this morning on CNN, and basically they said that the commuting trains into New York City during rush hour are 50% level at what they were before COVID.
Wow.
So people don't want to take the train because they're afraid of what's happening. There's still COVID around. I mean, some of my neighbors have had it 3 times now. And there's, the flu, RSV, so there's still a lot of stuff going on. And particularly if you have little kids, you really want to be subject to that. So a lot of people want to relook at what they want to do. And right now, a lot of women can't get childcare for the workday, or it's very expensive. So that, they really want to work from home. And that's what those numbers are telling you. Even the traffic, the traffic to New York City is at an 88% level of where it was. So people are still not willing to go into the city. They'd rather have changes. And people talk about the lack of people. One of the biggest things that's happening is that couples with kids are having to address who's going to stay home or how they're going to get childcare. I mean, one of the most in-demand jobs right now are nannies. Because you can't find daycare, and daycare is so expensive. It's almost, if you have multiple kids, it's almost better to hire a nanny than daycare. So that brings out, what do people want to do with their careers? It's you all hear that JP Morgan wants to bring everybody back to the office, but for a lot of people, you can't do that. We still have a large percentage of people out there who want to work from home. It's the last survey that I saw on LinkedIn is that 70% of the people who are working at home want to stay at home. They don't want to go back into the office. So that's changed to to what the benefits are. And if you look at new tech companies that are out there, and I'm a tech person. A lot of those startups are now 100% from home.
Wow.
They don't have an office. They don't want an office. Right.
They don't need an office.
They don't need an office, right? So people are re-engaging with their companies as to what are the benefits. What do they really want? A lot of people now is, today, one of the main things people are looking for compared to when I was out getting a job is work-life balance. And, commuting into Manhattan in particular is a long time. It takes a long time to get there unless you're paying a lot of money for a house. And, the closer you are, the house you can afford gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
When I first did it, I worked in Hoboken, so I didn't have to worry about it. Across the river, I'm 5 blocks from the subway into the city. Life is good, but people don't want those small apartments when they have families. And I ended up moving out. So employees now are re-engaging, or they're going other places. So the initial part of the Great Resignation is people don't want to come back to the office. And the second part is they're saying, you make me come back to the office, I'm going to quit. Well, a large number of those that ended up being put in that situation actually re-engaged with the company. The company came back and talked to themselves, we don't want you to quit. What can we do? So a large number. So that's really why I'm calling it re-engagement. And those companies that are not willing to re-engage are going out and looking for people. So, why is that important? Why would we want to say is go out and look? I mean, today, if you look, most people, 50 to 60% of the people on LinkedIn are saying they are quietly looking for another job. They're not actively, but they're quietly. They will take a call from a recruiter. They will take an email from a recruiter. So what is that telling us? People aren't unhappy with their situations. They're willing to look for a better job. They're looking to do for a better position. And what is the quiet way of doing it? Is probably the best way is using your LinkedIn profile. So that's become a really big thing. Those people who have a good LinkedIn profile for the industry that they're in are actually getting hired very highly. And I had the perfect example. My son, right? He company was going to lay him off and things like that. So we did his LinkedIn profile. They're really good ones. I did. Of course. All right. He got he basically was out for 2 months because he refused to do it before. So when he finally told me they were going to probably close down his part of his company, that section that he's in, we redid his LinkedIn profile and his resume. And basically, he got a job before his severance pay expired, and he got a 46% raise.
Wow.
Right? That's what people are seeing. Right? He really didn't want to look for a job. He thought he wanted to stay there longer. So he was hanging on and hanging on. A lot of people are doing that. They're hanging on and hanging on. So that's why people are saying they're quietly looking for it. They're not actively looking. And that's one of the reasons why you need to have your LinkedIn profile there, because that's how people are finding passive job seekers. And if you have a good LinkedIn profile like my son was, he's getting 1 to 2 contacts a day in IT, which is huge. People don't realize that your LinkedIn profile can dramatically increase the number of contacts you have, and you can choose, right? One of the things about re-engagement is a lot of companies have been cutting back on benefits. Well, if you're getting that kind of engagement with recruiters, you can choose a company that has the benefits you want and the lifestyle you want, and the hours you want. I mean, I've had seen women, when I was doing some searching for another company for employees, you know, a woman basically says, yeah, I want this much of a raise, which is a 30% raise, which is pretty big for what she was doing. But she said, no, I want to work 8 to 4, and that's it. On occasion, I'll work more, but I want an 8 to 4 day. I want to work around this area in case I have to go into the office, and take or leave it.
Yeah.
That's it. You basically wouldn't even negotiate. This is it. You either give it to me, I'm going someplace else. So people are wanting to change, and they know they can get the benefits. You know, benefits have become a big thing. A lot of companies have cut back on benefits. So, you know, particularly dental benefits. I mean, dental benefits have pretty much gone away in a lot of companies if you're not a big company. Yeah. So people are looking for more money, you know, better work-life balance, and better hours. One of the other things that basically came out today also on CNN was the length of the commute. We're back to a huge commute time. Let me just pull it up. Here it is. Traffic congestion is at 80% of what it was. The number of hours in traffic per person per year is up to 101 hours, which is higher than it was since 2019, which was 111 hours.
Wow.
And that was in the top 10 urban
Wow.
areas. So the reason why I brought that up is, again, the re-engagement. You know, if you want to commute, you know, New York City commute, everybody knows it's a tough commute. And,
Yeah.
But even Stanford, you know, which is also another, you know, it's a much smaller city compared to New York City, but commuting to Stanford is worse than commuting to Manhattan. You know, and several of the other cities in Connecticut and other places, the commutes have become very difficult and very long.
Yeah.
So people want changes, either, you know, more work time working from home, you know, better daycare benefits or childcare benefits, and also shorter week, you know, a 3-day week instead of a 5-day week if they get away with it, or, you know, work from home and then come in once a week or less and have meetings. But for the most part, people are getting working from home.
Yeah.
And they're getting a lot more money. And that's, you know, part of that is because of a lot of things. If we go back to like the 2000, when you had the .com boom, after that, a lot of the CFOs did a survey and stuff like that, where they were saying they don't want to train their employees because they leave, you know, with it, they only stay around for 3 years. What we found since then is that that's happened to a lot of places, and we have a very untrained workforce, and people are leaving to get trained. I mean, I didn't do that when I was an executive. I mean, my people stayed because I trained them. They didn't leave because I trained them. You know, my team, you know, I have IT people, so you have to train them. There's always new stuff. So training isn't an option to say no, but my CFO wouldn't pay for it. You know, I had to include it in, you know, when I did a deal to fight for Cisco, training was included in that. When I did a deal for EMC and other stuff, well, we made sure we got a great price and that the training was in there. And the people, you know, and the last company was that when I first went there was huge turnover. And, you know, I spent some time with them, why they're leaving, this, that, and the other thing. And they said, basically, not being trained, we're really bored, no new technology and stuff like that. So the workplace, you know, the technology and other stuff, people want to learn and people want to grow. And if you don't give them it, they'll leave anyway. Even though, so if you train them, they'll leave if you're not a good employer. If you do train them, and you're a good employer, they'll stay. I mean, I've had people apologize to me for leaving because of family issues. They left. The
Yeah.
ID was that said, we love it here because we're challenged, we get trained, we're treated well. And when it says, well, we really don't care about the hours because we love what we do. Right?
Mhm.
You're giving us new stuff. We're learning. We're always doing this. So if I need, if you guys don't treat me right, I can leave and get a great job anywhere.
Yeah.
But you're treating me well here. I'm learning all this stuff. Life is good.
Mhm.
So there has to be a work-life balance, and companies that aren't doing it are having a problem, and that's why I'm spending a lot of time on LinkedIn finding very high level professionals, not all high level, but professionals through LinkedIn, because it's the only way to do it, and they're very willing to do it. One of the women I recruited for one of the companies was a marketing person, and she asked, "How'd you find me?"
Mhm.
And I said, "Well, I found you through doing a LinkedIn search." Really? Said, I wasn't looking or anything else. I was not looking at the paper. Says, well, you filled out your LinkedIn profile. This way I could find you. She got a huge promotion, not a
Wow.
huge, but a good promotion,
Yeah.
a good raise, and she was closer to home.
Mhm.
Yeah. So she got everything she wanted. And that's what the new change is going to be, right? People are doing, I mean, there's been a lot of turnover in a lot of places, but now that people have jobs, you make them go into the office, you're going to start seeing people look for jobs closer to home if you're going to make them commute.
Yeah.
And that is going to be the next rage and this is a cycle. I mean, I'm not telling anything new.
Mhm.
Every progression of hiring and rehiring, people finding new jobs, has been get a job no matter what, then get a job closer to home, reduce your commute, or get a job where you don't have to commute,
Yeah.
right? And we're now at the point where you got 3.5% unemployment, but unemployment rate at a record low. And guess what? People are looking to work closer to home. Now,
Mhm.
if we take an example of what's happening, if you look at what's happening in California with Facebook layoffs, Amazon layoffs, all that stuff, those people are in high demand. And those are many thousands of people they laid off. The unemployment rate didn't go up. The workforce, what do they call it? Percentage of workforce employed actually went up, right? There's more people employed. So those people found jobs without increasing the unemployment rate and being on the unemployment rates longer than to show up on the long-term unemployed numbers. So in those industries that are hiring, the unemployment rate is doing very well, and those industries are the same, right? If we look at what it is, what they are, I mean, IT. Where's my list? IT is number one, right? It's the number one hiring list.
Mhm.
Transportation, I mean, is number two. Financial services is number three. And education number four. And those have been pretty much consistent over the last couple of years. And healthcare, nurses, we all saw the strike for the hospital in New York City because
Mhm.
they're not hiring enough nurses and doctors. And that's so yes, the businesses aren't doing so great because business has changed because of COVID, and coming out of COVID, we're going back to way businesses ran before. So all those that expanded really fast are now having problems reducing their size, but the jobs are still there, right?
Yeah.
So this is this is a high employment. If we're going to go into recession, this is going to be in a high employment recession, which is a brand new thing for us. And all I'm hearing from different companies is, we need more people.
Yeah.
I don't see, the people that are laying off are companies that overhired during COVID. And a lot of people are still looking to move on. I mean, one of the other surveys that came out was, particularly for women, in the workforce, 35% have basically said they're being pushed too hard to do different things, to work harder, to work longer, and things like that, and causing problems with their family. They're still looking to leave and to find better places. So there's been a lot of workplace issues during the COVID environment because they haven't been able to hire people, and people, companies are trying to adjust and then took it out on the employees. So this, re-engagement, is going to continue because people are still looking for numbers. And, granted, the stats tell us that, they're not getting the gigundo raises that they thought, but, currently it says if you stay at your job and ask for more money, maybe you're getting a 7% raise on average, which is not a bad raise. But if you go find a new job, it's 17%. So if you have an average of 17% raise, that's for the lows and for the highs. And some people don't necessarily change jobs just for money.
Yeah.
But that's still a big number. So, and everybody, I'm telling, from the companies I talk to, right, they still can't find people fast enough. They're losing people faster than they're gaining. So this is going to change. And LinkedIn is the path. Recruiters are out of their, what I call their filing cabinet of people that they recirculate every 3 to 4 years. They've already done that. Now you have to go find them. And a way to find them is to get their LinkedIn profiles up. I mean, I've already have, it's February. I'm going to, it's January and February. I'm already doing 4 LinkedIn classes in the first 2 months of this year for different people. And people are looking to upgrade their jobs. And LinkedIn is the way they do it because the recruiters are too busy. So, they don't want to even talk to you unless you absolutely fit what they're looking for because they're just too busy. And the complaints, so they're not calling you back. So the only way to really do this in today's environment to get ahead and find something else is to go through LinkedIn, which is, again, my specialty. So, I find this very, very interesting that, it's people are not, people are looking for a job, but they're not willing to go look at the job boards. They basically want to be found and they want to negotiate what they want and they want what they want.
Mm-hmm. You can take it. Go ahead.
No, we get rid of it. Got to turn the ringer down. So yeah, I find it intriguing, that people are astonished that, companies are reaching out. And the number of companies I'm seeing that are having to go in and having to reevaluate their salary structure and benefit structure because people are leaving. One of the companies that I didn't work for, they just went through and, I spoke with them and basically said, when was the last time you did a salary review for your people? Because, the companies in your place, I heard from friends who were in the business, and they basically said, they're going through their second salary and benefit review because the people are getting poached.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what's happening. It's basically the great re-engagement because companies want to keep their good people. Other companies want to find good people, and for the first time in a lot of years, the people have the upper hand. And, you don't have to, and today you don't have to actively look. A lot of it is just getting your LinkedIn profile right and having them come and find you.
Yeah.
and it's a lot less work. I mean, that's why, why I did what I call my pull strategy is that it attracts recruiters. It attracts business for companies that are independent professionals. It attracts, other kind of clients. So it's a way of doing business without having to, advertise a great deal and go out there. One of the companies I helped a while back said, they were posting a lot of stuff on on online boards and stuff like that. The problem with that is people were looking for promotions and were filling in the job applications when they really weren't qualified.
Mhm.
It was taking them, what would they say? Yeah, they were getting 4,000 responses per job posting.
Wow.
And it was taking their recruiters 7 weeks
Oh my
to
gosh.
go through them. And it's just like, it was nuts. And because they're a US government employer, they a contractor, they do work with the US government, they have to go through all these rules. And what they found out is it's much simpler
Mhm.
to get recruiters trained on LinkedIn to go and find the people they want, and there's much less manpower, and they get a better candidate product. So the whole world is changing now. And, it used to be really easy to go get a job. You used to go to a recruiter, give them your resume, yada, yada, yada. The recruiters don't have time for most people.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is the new, basically, job candidate database that companies are using, and it's working really well. And most people just have to spend the time to do it right.
Yeah.
And everybody that's done a reasonable job is finding positions, if there are positions. Now, there are some industries that are not doing well, and some positions that aren't doing well. I mean, they have to sort of give that, little disclosure there. But in general, people are getting hired, and there's no end to that right now. And a lot of that is, the problems that COVID and the viruses and stuff are having, that couples can't, basically, if they have kids, are having problems with both people going to work because there's no daycare.
Yeah.
And or very little, and it's very expensive. And work from home is still going to be a huge option that people are going to want. And I mean, I've seen LinkedIn profiles now, work from home only.
Got it. Yeah. I know it's a
So,
good thing. I get to do it myself some days as well. I enjoy it a lot better than that commute. I'm with you. And with having 2 kids home, I could totally empathize with everything you're saying today. It's true.
yeah, and I'm actually, it's not so hard. My book, Ignite Your LinkedIn Profile, it basically is, do it yourself, LinkedIn, how to do your LinkedIn profile, do it properly, and be able to be found.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard. It's a step-by-step book, and I help other people. I mean, a lot of senior executives are basically going to look to see what's out there, because this year has, the past year has not been a lot of mergers and acquisitions.
No.
Because companies were, pretty expensive. Now
I
the stock
apologize,
market is,
Don. We're out of time. We're over 30 minutes. I apologize. We just keep talking. I didn't realize it either. Oh my goodness, I have to go to my next show. Please tell us how we could reach you, Don. It happens a lot.
hi. Yes, you can get me via email, don@linkedinguy.com. You can go to my website, whitmantechnology.com, or my business email, which is don@whitmantechnology. You can get me on LinkedIn at Donald J. Wittman, and Wittman is Wittman. It's the German form. Anyway, thank you.
You have a fantastic day. Appreciate you being here and always enlightening us on the situation, and really relates to home today, talking about this whole workforce and nannies and children and daycare lack of, and working from home, making things easier. But thank you again, Don. Have a great day.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.